While in Savannah, we toured Fort Pulaski and learned about its part in the Civil War and as a stop on the Underground Railroad. Come along as Jerry shares its history.
Fort Pulaski's construction began in 1827 as part of the newly designed third system, referring to the 19th century military structures developed after the British burned the nation's capital during the War of 1812. This new coastal defense system was developed to replace the haphazard assortment of batteries and outposts with 200 standardized forts along the East Coast. Fort Pulaski is only one of 30 built between the years 1816 and 1867. Fort Pulaski was named in honor of Kazimierz Pulaski, a Polish soldier and military commander who fought under George Washington during the American Revolution. What you see before you is Fort Pulaski's demi-lune. A demi-lune is a crescent-shaped formation consisting of a moat, many gun emplacements, and tall earthen barriers. Fort Pulaski's demi-lune, as in all the third system's forts, were designed to eliminate line of sight on the fort's front doors from enemy gun emplacements, along with direct frontal assaults from enemy troops. A weak point in all forts' construction is its front door. So in addition to its large demi-lune, its wide moat, its drawbridge, Fort Pulaski's front door was protected by a drop-down, shoot-through grille door, backed up by two heavy, thick barrier doors. After passing through the two massive bolt-studded doors, you'll travel up an inclined quartz floor with two rows of rifle slits on either side and also two rooms to house the guards that are on duty. After that, and before entering the parade grounds, you go through one final set of massive shoot-through style doors. Fort Pulaski's parade ground, which is the large grassy area in the middle of the fort, was used for troop mustering by the 385 officers and men of Fort Pulaski, and also to pass the time of day in their favorite game, baseball. The arches you see in front of you are called casements, and are used for many functions. Some casements were used to house the 60 cannons protecting the fort, while others were to house the troops. Some were to store food, and others acted as cisterns for the fort's water supply. Later in the war, some of the cisterns actually housed prisoners of war. This casement, which is adjacent to the drawbridge, housed the troops who were on duty to protect the fort's front door. These troops had a rotation schedule of 2 hours on watch, followed by 4 hours of rest. You can see the narrow slits that the troops would fire through, protecting the front door and the drawbridge. This casement housed the quartermaster's office and supply room, which stored equipment the troops used, such as tinware, wool blankets, rifle cartridges, leather gear, and, of course, uniforms and clothing. This casement was used to house some of the fort's enlisted troops. How can you tell that the troops were enlisted? Well, they slept in bunks. Unlike the last casement, this casement was used to support the officers, as you can tell from the individual bunks that the officers slept in, and the lanterns to light their way at night. Since all of the fort's officers ate their meals together, this casement was designed to be the officers' mess. This casement is the fort's medical dispensary, which was staffed by the surgeon of the post, Dr. J. W. Grosvenor. Here you can see that the commanding officer, Colonel Brown, had life a little easier by having his own casement with ample room for a larger bed, a sitting and game table, along with several pieces of personal furniture. As we walk along the many casements, you can see many empty gun ports, for although Fort Pulaski had been designed to house 140 cannon, along with its troops, the fort actually only had 60 cannons installed. While there were only 3 of the original cannon used in the fort during the siege of April 1862, many replacements have been found, including 6-pounders, which had a range of 1,523 yards, 12-pounder howitzers, which had a range of over 1,000, 24-pound flank howitzers, 24-pound smoothbores, 42-pounders, which had a range of close to 2,000 yards, 8-inch columbads, and finally several versions of rifled cannon, including a 24-pound Blakely, a 30-pound Parrott, and a 6.4-inch Brook, all with a range of over 3,500 yards to finally the brook with a range of 7,900 estimated yards. The quick fall of Fort Pulaski surprised many, as Pulaski was regarded as the most spectacular harbor defense structure in the United States. With the fort's massive 7.5-foot thick brick walls, along with the nearest firm ground for enemy cannon being more than a mile away, Fort Pulaski was safe from any smoothbore attack of the day. But unfortunately, the fort's garrison did not know that the federal armament included 10 new experimental rifled cannon, whose projectiles could easily reach Fort Pulaski. By noon of the second day, wide gaps had been opened in the southeastern wall, with one shell penetrating close to the main powder magazine, holding 40,000 pounds of gunpowder. Concerned for the lives of his men, Colonel Olmsted, worried that the gunpowder magazine explosion would be catastrophic, surrendered only 30 hours after the bombardment began. While looking at older cannons, I am always amazed with their simplicity. From the elevation screws seen here, to the rollers used to pull the cannon back from the wall in order to reload new gunpowder and shot, and to the metal strips in the floor allowing the cannon to be pulled side to side for horizontal targeting. During the winter of 1864, with the fort being under Union control, many of Fort Pulaski's casemates were converted, as you can see from the bars, into prison cells for captured Confederate officers. In the late 1880s, the only occupant at Fort Pulaski was a caretaker maintaining a close-by lighthouse. In 1924, restoration of the fort began after Pulaski was awarded its National Monument status. I hope you enjoyed our time together exploring Fort Pulaski's history and look forward to sharing new historic adventures together. Remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell, and most of all, make memories wherever the road takes you.